In the days of the Persian Empire, in the city of Susa, the throne was held by King Xerxes, a ruler of immense wealth and pride whose word carried weight across a vast kingdom. His palace was filled with splendor, and his feasts were known for their extravagance. One evening, during a grand celebration, the king summoned his queen, Vashti, to appear before the nobles. But she refused. Humiliated in front of his guests, Xerxes stripped her of her crown and declared she would never again enter his presence. And so, the throne beside him sat empty, waiting for a new queen. Among the people living in Susa was a young Jewish woman named Hadassah, known to the Persians as Esther. She had lost her parents as a child and was raised by her older cousin Mordecai, who loved her as a daughter. Though she lived in exile, she carried herself with quiet dignity, and her kindness caught the eye of everyone she met. When the king's decree went out to gather young women so that he might choose a new queen, Esther was taken to the palace. Before she left, Mordecai held her hands firmly and whispered, "Do not reveal your people or your heritage, Esther. For now, it is safer hidden." She nodded, her eyes filled with both fear and trust. Inside the palace, Esther found favor with the attendants. Her humility stood out among the glitter of jewels and silks. When her turn came to be presented before the king, he was captivated not only by her beauty, but by her presence, so full of grace. And so Xerxes placed a crown upon her head and declared her Queen of Persia. But outside the palace walls, danger brewed. Haman, one of the king's highest officials, rose in power and demanded respect from all. When he passed through the city gates, everyone bowed. Everyone, that is, except Mordecai. Day after day, Mordecai stood tall. Haman's pride turned into rage, and when he discovered Mordecai was a Jew, his hatred grew until it consumed him. He did not want to punish just one man. He tried to destroy an entire people. Haman went to the king with poison disguised as counsel. "There are people in your empire," he said smoothly, "scattered among the nations. They do not follow your laws. It is not in your interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued for their destruction. I will personally see that it is carried out." Xerxes, trusting Haman, took off his signet ring and sealed the order. Messengers raced across the provinces with the decree. On a particular day, all Jews, young and old, men and women, were to be killed. When Mordecai read the decree, grief overtook him. He tore his clothes, dressed in sackcloth, and cried aloud in the streets. Esther heard of his mourning and sent garments to him, but he refused them. Through messengers, Mordecai sent word to her of Haman's plot. His message was desperate but clear. "Do not think that because you live in the king's palace, you alone will escape. If you remain silent, deliverance will come from another place, but you and your family will perish. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther trembled as she received his words. She knew the law. To approach the king uninvited was to risk death unless he extended his golden scepter. Yet she also knew she could not remain silent. With resolve, she sent her reply. "Go, gather all the Jews of Susa. Fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, whether at night or during the day. My attendants and I will do the same. When this is done, I will go to the king, despite it being against the law. And if I perish, I perish." For 3 days, the city of Susa was enveloped in prayer and fasting. On the 3rd day, Esther dressed in her royal robes and walked toward the throne room. Her heart pounded, each step echoing like a drum. the great doors opened, and all eyes turned to her. King Xerxes looked up from his throne. A hush fell over the court. Would he turn her away? Then slowly, the king extended his golden scepter. Esther approached, touched the tip, and bowed. "What is it, Queen Esther?" Xerxes asked, his voice surprisingly warm. "What is your request? Even if it is half the kingdom, it will be yours. If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today to a banquet I have prepared." The banquet was set, rich with wine and food. Xerxes sat pleased, Haman proud beside him. Again, the king asked, "Now, my queen, tell me your petition." "If the king regards me with favor, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to another banquet. Then I will answer the king's question." That night, Haman walked out of the palace with his heart swelling in pride. He had dined with the king and queen alone, yet as he left, he saw Mordecai once more, standing tall, refusing to bow. Rage overcame him. At home, he ranted to his wife and friends. "All my honor, all my wealth is worthless as long as I see that Jew defy me." They advised him, "Build a gallows 50 cubits high. Tomorrow, ask the king to hang him on it. Then go to the banquet joyfully." But that same night, the king could not sleep. He ordered the Book of Records to be read aloud. The scribe recited the story of how Mordecai had once uncovered a plot to assassinate the king, saving his life. Xerxes sat up. What honor was given to this man? The servant replied, "Nothing was done for him." The king frowned. "Then let it be done." At dawn, Haman entered the court, ready to request Mordecai's execution. But before he could speak, Xerxes asked, "What should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Haman, thinking of himself, smiled broadly. "Let him wear a royal robe that the king has worn. Let him ride the king's horse, with a crown upon his head, and let a noble lead him through the city, proclaiming, 'This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor.'" The king nodded. "Excellent. Go at once. Do all this for Mordecai the Jew. Leave nothing out." Haman's face drained of color, yet he obeyed. Ashamed, Haman returned home, only to be summoned again to Esther's second banquet. There, as wine was poured, the king asked, "Now, my queen, what is your request? It will be granted." "Spare me, my king, and spare my people, for we have been sold to be destroyed, to be killed and to be annihilated." "Who is he? Where is the man who has dared to do this?" "This vile enemy is Haman." The room erupted in gasps. Haman fell to his knees, begging. The king rose in fury and left the hall. In desperation, Haman stumbled toward Esther, pleading for his life. But as he fell near her couch, the king returned. Seeing Haman so close to the queen, Xerxes shouted, "Will he even assault the queen in my presence, in my own house? A gallows stands at Haman's house, built for Mordecai. Hang him on it." But the danger was not over. The decree against the Jews had already been sealed. Weeping, Esther fell before the king. "Please, grant life to my people. My hands cannot undo what was written. But you may write another decree, as you see fit, in my name and with my seal." Mordecai was given authority to write in the king's name, and a new decree was issued. The Jews throughout the empire were given the right to defend themselves. When the appointed day came, their enemies gathered to destroy them. But instead, the Jews stood firm, and the fear of them fell upon the nations. They triumphed over those who sought to harm them. In Susa, joy replaced sorrow, and mourning turned to celebration. Mordecai rose to prominence, clothed in royal garments of blue and white, honored by the people. Esther remained queen, remembered not only for her beauty, but for her courage. She was the young woman who chose to risk her life, and in doing so, saved her people. And so, the story of Esther is told to this day, reminding us that sometimes the quietest voices carry the greatest strength. That courage can rise in the most unexpected of places. And who knows? Perhaps you too are where you are for such a time as this. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more Bible stories and reflections. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on new videos.